Greetings and welcome to Train Signal. You're watching the introduction to the Microsoft Lync Server 2013 Administration Video Series. In this video, we're going to provide an overview of the Microsoft Lync Server 2013 Administration course. We're going to start off by looking at who the class is designed for, and we'll also discuss some of the prerequisites that you should probably have under your belt while you're taking this course. I'll also provide you with an overview of what's going to be covered in the class. And then we're going to wrap it up with an overview of the organization that we're using for our scenario-based learning. As you're watching the video series, keep in mind that this is a class that was designed for network administrators, unified communication team members, and architects. So although we will cover some client-side content throughout the video series, this is really geared more towards the server side. We're going to see how to set up Microsoft Lync Server and how to configure it. Before taking the Microsoft Lync Server 2013 video training, you want to consider the prerequisites. Now keep in mind that you don't have to have all the prerequisites under your belt before you take the training, but you will find that they will aid in your understanding of how the product works. So let's take a look at some of these. First of all, the Microsoft Lync Server product runs on top of Windows Server 2008 or the 2012 platform. So you want to have a good understanding of the server-based operating systems. Microsoft Lync Server also requires Active Directory. Before you can install Microsoft Lync Server, you have to extend your Active Directory schema. Lync Server now uses role-based access control. We have a bunch of predefined administrative roles which are linked to universal security groups. Another important prerequisite is DNS, the domain name server. Microsoft Lync Server requires DNS both internally and externally for resolution. The Microsoft Lync Server can be used for instant messaging and presence, audio and video conferencing, and also for voice over IP. In all those cases, we have to have our name resolution set up properly inside of the organization and also out on the internet. Your Microsoft Lync servers also require certificates for internal servers and also for the servers out in your DMZ, such as with your Edge server and your reverse proxy. So at a minimum, you have to have a basic understanding of certificates. If your organization requires a higher level of availability, and you're going to set up teams of servers, which we call pools, you have to have an understanding of load balancing. Microsoft Lync Server now does support DNS-based load balancing, but it also requires hardware load balancing. The Microsoft Lync Server product also requires SQL Server. Well, number one, it uses SQL Server to maintain the topology information in something called the Central Management Store. All of your Lync servers will run a local copy of SQL Server. We also use SQL Server for monitoring and archiving. So needless to say, you should have an understanding of what SQL Server is and how it works. Microsoft Lync Server is a product that supports various modalities of communication. Whether it's instant messaging, we have peer-to-peer and multi-party conferencing, file transfer, application sharing, desktop sharing. We can even use the product as our voice over IP solution. You have to have a general understanding of networking, and the product will support TCP/IP version 4 and version 6. With a product that supports so many forms of communication, it also means that the product is going to use various ports for that communication. So you also want to have a basic understanding of firewalls. If you have a background working in phone systems, you'll find that to be very helpful going through the video series also. But it's not mandatory. So what are you going to learn about in this course? Well, this video series, we cover a lot of content. We're going to start off with an introduction to Lync Server 2013. And then we'll cover the Lync 2013 clients, installation and configuration. We'll look at installing Microsoft Lync Server, the preparation process, and the actual deployment itself. And if your organization has branch offices where you require survivable branch appliances or survivable branch servers for voice resiliency for enterprise voice, we're going to see how to set up branch offices. We cover a video on role-based access control in administration. You'll see how to administer Microsoft Lync Server both through the control panel and also through the command line interface of the Lync Server Management Shell. You'll be introduced to setting up Microsoft Lync beyond the internal environment. The Lync Server product has a feature called the Edge services that you can deploy out in your DMZ to provide connectivity out to the internet. We're going to see how to set up the Edge server in your topology and how to install the box itself. If you're looking to use Microsoft Lync Server for your voice over IP solution, we have a couple of videos on enterprise voice. You're going to see how to set up dial plans, voice policies, routes, and trunk configurations. You'll also see how to define your mediation servers and your gateways inside of the topology builder. And then we'll see some advanced enterprise voice applications. For example, we can handle calls coming in to unassigned extensions. Or if we want to set up automated call distribution, we can do that also. And we'll see that throughout our videos. If you're using Lync Server for your voice over IP solution, it requires Microsoft Exchange Unified Messaging for your backend voicemail storage. We're going to cover a video on setting up the integration with the Exchange Unified Messaging. Microsoft Lync Server also provides support for conferencing, audio video conferencing, and web collaboration. The web collaboration component handles application sharing, desktop sharing, file transfer, whiteboards, and polling. We have a video on setting up conferencing, including dial-in conferencing. Now, with a product like Microsoft Lync Server, it's a very big product, and you can have many servers deployed within your environment to support Lync. It's important that you're able to monitor the product. So we're going to cover a video on monitoring and reporting on Lync Server 2013. And if your organization is subject to compliance requirements for your instant messaging, we also cover a video on compliance. If your organization is supporting mobile clients, we also have the mobility services for Lync Server 2013. We're going to see how to design and how to deploy the mobility services. And the group chat feature that we had with Lync Server 2010 has been updated. We now call it persistent chat. We're going to see how to set up persistent chat also. We have a video on setting up call admission control. This is a bandwidth management feature of Lync that allows us to restrict the amount of bandwidth that can be used for real-time audio and real-time video, either on a per-session basis or on a total aggregate basis. We will also see how to set up the emergency services called E911. It's a location information service so that if somebody dials an emergency number, the location information gets passed along with the call, and your call can get routed to a local public safety answering point. So as you can see, we're going to cover a lot of material throughout the course, and we're going to touch on all of the modalities of communication supported by Lync Server. Throughout the video series, we're going to be using a scenario-based training. Let's take a look at our course scenario. As we start to deploy and configure Microsoft Lync Server 2013 throughout the video series, you're going to be working for a company called Rock Fitness. You'll be working on the messaging team. Rock Fitness is an organization that runs fitness centers, and they also handle health product distribution. The organization has about 150 health centers, and their headquarters are located in Scottsdale, Arizona, but they also have another data center over in Phoenix. The organization currently has about 4,000 employees, but it's growing rapidly. As we go through the on-screen demonstrations for deploying Microsoft Lync Server and configuring it, we're going to be using the Rock Fitness Enterprise. So let's take a look at the lab environment. If you want to set up your own lab environment to deploy and configure Microsoft Lync Server, it can get a little bit complex because Microsoft Lync Server has a lot of requirements. For the demonstrations that I perform during my videos, I have several different servers. Let's take a look. As you can see on screen, I have several different servers deployed within my virtual environment. I've got a domain controller, which is handling the domain called covrockfitness.com. I've also got a Microsoft Exchange Server 2013 server deployed. You could use 2010 if you wanted to, but to use some of the newer features, it does require Exchange Server 2013. In my lab environment, I've deployed the Lync Server 2013 Enterprise Edition. So I've got 3 servers set up in a front-end server pool, and I also have a back-end SQL server, which is hosting my databases. My Lync servers are running on Windows Server 2008 R2, but they could run on 2012. My SQL server is running on Windows Server 2008 R2, and it's a 2008 version of SQL Server, and it's been service packed. I have another server that's being used as my web app server. Microsoft Lync Server uses the Office web app server to handle the PowerPoint presentations in a conference. So now we're able to use some of the more advanced features when we're participating in a conference, such as slide animations, for example. The Enterprise Edition of Microsoft Lync Server also requires a file share on the network. I've installed my file share on the SQL server that I'm using in the class, so I didn't have to set up another server. The applications running on your front-end servers within a pool, they'll share information out inside of that file share directory. I'm also going to require another file share for my persistent chat pool. Now, you can't see it up here on the screen, but I do have a persistent chat server that I've deployed in my environment also. Over to the right, you can see that I have a reverse proxy server, and I also have an edge server out in my DMZ. These are going to be used for setting up connectivity out onto the internet, for public instant messaging, and it's also going to support federation relationships and external users. as well as allowing users to join into our conferences from on the internet. That's the end of our introduction, so let's get started.